Welcome to Take 10, where we hope to inspire, encourage, and motivate your leadership. I am Jasmine Bullard, and today we want to share a recent interview Cam did with retiring YMCA CEO Larry Richardson. Larry provides great inspiration to listeners. I know you will enjoy. Here is part one of their discussion.
Hey, welcome everybody to another Take 10. I'm Cameron Corder, and I'm joined by a good friend, Larry Richardson from Pennsylvania and YMCA of the Roses. Larry has recently announced his retirement, but over our Y careers, we've been fortunate and blessed enough to be in the same room a couple of times and know each other enough that we fist bump or say hello at conferences and maybe swap an email back and forth every now and then or a message. So, Larry, thanks for joining us and talking a little bit about your distinguished career.
Thank you and appreciate you having me.
Okay. So, how long has the career been? And give me a little bit of what was your entree into the Y? How old were you?
I was probably 27, 28. I came in a weird way. I was a professor and a football coach in the state university system in Pennsylvania, and we got a new head coach where I taught at here in the state, and I didn't like the ethics of that particular gentleman, so I took a head high school job in the coal region, which is a little bit further away from where I was teaching. Finishing my PhD at Penn State University, thinking I'd go back into college, stay and keep teaching. I was in education. Went to a new community. They had fired the YMCA director in that little town, and they asked me if I would run the YMCA while I was the head football coach. And I said, that seems like it might be a good partnership. I love the Y. I grew up in the Y in my town in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and I accepted the YMCA job, and I had no idea what I was doing. So first day I had to make payroll and payables, and we didn't have enough money. So when I was at the college, I never worried about anything. That the checks just kept coming, So I learned real quick that I had a little bit more responsibility, as I had a lot more people I was accountable for. So started there, and that was in 1988, we merged a couple smaller Ys in the mid part of the state, and that Y is doing great now, Greater Susquehanna Valley YMCA, and then the YUSA in the York and York County Y was a troubled Y in 1994. They had offered a job to several people, and then Wendy Fox was a national YMCA consultant at the time, and she called me and said, "Would you consider coming to York possibly?" And I go, "We just had a new baby, finished a capital campaign. I don't think so, but I mean, I'll go talk to some people." And I came down and loved it, and we've been here. Blessed to be here since 1994.
And that's great. So I saw that 31 years, but if I'm doing the math right, 36 years altogether.
Oh yeah, should be on my 38th year. Yeah.
Yeah. Like wow.
That. I might be a year or two off there. 37, 38 years. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Hey, how much were you making in that first job? High school coach and Y director. What was that salary?
High school coach in 1988. I remember it dearly because I was at another a technical college at the time, and I was making 16,000, and they paid me 32,500. I thought I was rich.
No, that's right.
I was at the time.
Yeah, actually, that's what I say. I had more money in my pocket at age 23 than I do now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the best year of my life was the first year I was married, and my wife was a nurse. And I was finishing my master's degree, and we were talking about this the other night, talking about retirement and how we're funding it. She made $7,800, and man, we thought we were the cat's meow.
That's awesome. That's so good. So tell us, you mentioned Wendy Fox. You and I are that same age bracket and go back into the 80s and early 90s with this YUSA crowd. But who were some of the mentors that helped you, especially in those early days in your Y career? Or not even that, just your own career. Who've been your mentors?
Well, it's interesting because I consider someone like yourself, which I follow your leadership things, and we've been, like I said, in the same room together. Someone I respect. I watch what you're doing at your Y in other communities. I know you're a man of faith. That's really important to me in terms of my Y career, which I think will maybe come up later. But I had not come up in the YMCA system, so I wasn't a program director. Come through that and then became a CEO. I went right into a CEO position. So my first number of years just in leadership development were I taught at Lock Haven University and coached football there. There was a head wrestling coach there by the name of Neil Turner, super strong man of faith, Division I wrestling, top 10 in the nation every year at the time, Division I. And I really just spent a lot of time with him under his tutelage, if you will. And he was fantastic from a leadership perspective, and also as a husband and father, and how to work out a career while you're working out your faith and raising a family at the same time. So I think he was probably the ones that it's interesting when you ask that question, okay, who pops in your mind at first, and he's the first person that comes to mind. And then the second one was again, just how to be a man of faith and leader and do the best you can as unto the Lord was my grandfather, who was a security guard in a manufacturing plant. But when he passed away, the viewing probably was 4 blocks long, people getting in to see him, just the influence and impact he had on people. So I realized then you didn't have to be at some position. Position had nothing to do with leadership and influence and impact. It was all about how he treated people. And so those are probably the two biggest ones. And then there's been a number of colleagues that have been, in our jobs and the CEO jobs, at least my experience has been some of the best opportunities I've had to develop as a leader have been in networking with other CEOs, because you're really not going to go to your staff for input. And I've developed a CEO network, as we all have in YMCA's, and those people have always been very important to me. And as I would call them, not so much mentors, but colleagues that I could get real with. And so I've always been, and I think that's one of the ingenious things about our movement. And things, maybe some of the things we've lost when we got rid of the or ADP and some other APD and some of that stuff kind of went away. We lost some of that networking. So I've been fortunate there's still a group here in northeastern United States and mid-Atlantic region that we had still gotten together for many years. And so I thought that was very critical to my development.
Yeah, it makes up. My wife thinks I'm a little nerdy because my best friends are my Y peers.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
I love going to the meetings because I get to see my friends.
Yeah, I always say that there's a group of people that they are dysfunctional as I am. And that's great.
That's right. And misery loves company a little bit.
That's right.
So you talked a little bit about it. Tell me what role faith has played in your career and just in your work with the Y.
Well, I think from the beginning, even to go into the Y and to make that move once we moved into high school coaching. I was a head high school football coach for 4 years, and then was asked to run the smaller Y. Really was through prayer. I really believe in calling. I really believe that people are called to, and you're being prepared all the time for whatever that is. And I had to be open to that. My wife and I prayerfully considered that, and when we made the decision, because I was on the pathway to complete my PhD at Penn State, and I dropped out of the program and said, okay, I think we're called to be in the YMCA for whatever reason. I don't know what this is going to look like. And we both put it to prayer, had a great group of friends that were still friends of ours to this day, Christ followers that really prayed around us. And we always have been comfortable with that. And anytime the big decisions have come up in the Y or with career, because there's been many opportunities, I'm sure you have also, you get a call and you're flattered, should I leave this place? And then you think about it and you pray about it, and for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. And 31 years later, I'm at the same place. So it's been very important to me. It's been an opportunity for me. Of course, we all know that we're not in the moody days of evangelical YMCA mission, but we're certainly ecumenical, and it's very important to us. And we have a strong Christian emphasis here at our Y, but we also love everybody, right? So I think that's important, and it's an opportunity for me in the public world, if you will, to work out my faith and my faith works. And so I'm hopeful that that not in an egotistical way, but that has come across to the many people that I've have interacted with. And on the other hand, I hope that they've forgiven me for not acting that role many times where I've failed and been erroneous in how I may have treated people or mistreated people. So yeah, I'm hoping they've given me grace over that.
Well, you've been a great leader in that. I've read some of the stuff that you've shared, and you've got a great story in that. And so I think it's always interesting. And I several years back, I emailed probably a dozen peers about, do you feel like it's a calling or a job? And I knew all these people would say it's a calling, and it was kind of like, when did you know it was a calling? You didn't know it on day one. Did you feel it? Was there a defining moment that you went, man, I'm really called to do this?
I think there was. I mean, I've been influenced by many authors. I see your books behind you, like I'm sure you have, and you have your favorite few, right? Mm-hmm. And so Max Lucado wrote a book years ago that I was really influenced by called Defining Your Sweet Spot. And
Yeah.
the whole idea was to read, from a biblical perspective, scripturally, prayerfully, being open to Spirit calling you. And I mean, some people may listen to this, think that's kind of trite and funky, but I'm sorry, that's my worldview. And I
Right.
was very comfortable and very confident. And the the interesting thing was my wife had to be having the same experience that I was having, right? So because I wasn't going to come by myself. So we had to be on the same page about that. And that's why I think we were certainly yoked together in that. And I think that was a big reason why, from our perspective, that that the career wise has at least been successful, and that we've held on and we stayed the course. And of course, she's been right by my side the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's great. Another great point to share for people watching and listening. But I think it's impressive too how you talked about these mentors, these people around you, that you had great spiritual leaders around you that could model and share and mentor, and that's just a key to success. Right there is who you have around you, who are you trying to be alike and aspire to
Mhm.
be, and then who's coaching you and who can call you and
Yeah.
check and say, "Hey, man."
Yeah, you want those people, and I think that's important. I think you're getting at is who can speak truth to you when it's time.
Right.
When you got to be called to the truth, and are willing to willing to take that chance and speak to you in that way. So, and it's all about holding one another accountable. And we started a men's Bible study group here over 20 years ago now, and probably 30 guys in it, but that's been a great group too, just to iron sharpens iron, right? And again, I don't want to be trite and say all these phrases, but it's been an unbelievable experience for us. We hold it here at the YMCA. It's part of our Christian emphasis group, and a friend of mine who's retired from here, he and I lead it, take turns leading it, and it's just an opportunity for us to speak into other men, and then hopefully build them up in their own community, in their own home, in their neighborhoods, in their careers, and so on. So that's been a true blessing also as part of that.
Man, great comment. Thank you. Um, Talk about the changes over, 30 plus years in the Y movement. How's the Y changed since 1990 to 2025?
Well, you've been in this a long time too. I think first thing that comes to mind is I don't do budgets on ledger on 8.5 by 11
Yeah.
sheets anymore, right?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing, but probably just I'd say regulation has changed in terms of what we're responsible for. What we're responsible for now, you take anything from child abuse prevention to aquatic safety, which are 100,000% on behind. Some of the things we do now or we did then, I would say we would never do now. I used to, just I shiver at the thought of some of the things that I did before. I used to drive the bus when as a CEO of Small Y. I would drive the bus at camp, and my own kids were in the camp program, so I would load them in the school bus. I parked the school bus in my house and go to the Y, pick up the kids and take them to the camp, and my kids would be in there the whole time. Use it as my work vehicle for the summer, and I mean, it's just like throwing the gymnastics. I mean, this stuff that you did, it was just crazy. So you can't
No
do that
such
stuff
thing as a
anymore.
CDL either.
No, no. Can you drive this? Yes or no? If you can, get it done.
Yes.
Or are you not even can you? Are you willing to give it a shot?
Yeah.
So I think I think the regulations, which have all been great. I also culture has changed, communities have changed, what people expect from us has changed. I think.
Thanks for listening to part 1 of Cam's discussion with Larry Richardson. Stay tuned for part 2. I am Jasmine Bullard, and remember to always lead with love.